Good morning, Vietnam! I'm Nathan Lafayette.
I'm CJ Grills, and this is the BBC.
Today's topic will be the space race. It all started in 1957 when the Soviets launched Sputnik 1 and 2, one of which carrying a dog named Laika into space. The shockingness of this happening caused the U.S. to create NASA to compete with them.
The next year, the U.S. launches Explorer 1 out of Port Canaveral, and in 1959, Russia launches Luna 1 through 3.
In 1961, Ham, a U.S. chimpanzee, becomes the first hominid in space and the first to successfully survive the landing. Later in April, the USSR sends the first human, Yuri Gagarin, into space.
1 month later, NASA sent Alan Shepard into space, and Kennedy challenged the United States to put a man on the moon.
2 years later, Valentina Tereshkova, a Soviet civilian, becomes the first woman in space.
In 1965, Alexei Leonov becomes the first man to complete a spacewalk, followed by Ed White a month and a half later. The next year, the Soviets send Luna 9 to the moon, which lands on February 3rd.
3 American astronauts were killed on January 27, 1967, in an accidental explosion. Vladimir V. Kamarov was killed on April 24th due to a parachute failure.
In 1968, the Soviet spacecraft Zond 5 becomes the first craft to orbit the moon and return to Earth. Then, the U.S. follow on December 21st with Apollo 8.
Finally, bringing an end to the space race, the Apollo 11 mission landed Commander Neil Armstrong, Lunar Module pilot Buzz Aldrin, and Command Module pilot Michael Collins on the moon. Neil Armstrong became the first man on the moon, and Buzz was not far behind.
Thanks for tuning in today about the space race. I'm CJ Grills.
I'm Nathan Lafayette, which CJ spelled with an E because he's an idiot. And this was the BBC. Oh yeah, also the dog died.